It's like misery loves company, and people are not used to hearing women celebrate their wins. They think it's arrogant, but I'm encouraging the women. If your friends don't like to hear you celebrate your wins, get new friends.
Hey everyone, I'm Angeline Constantinou, and this is Her Unapologetic Voice. This podcast was created for women who lead but are done leading from apology. Here we have real, unfiltered conversations about boundaries, truth, and confidence. The kind of talks that remind you your voice is not something you find once, it's something you build. Every episode will give you something real to take with you, whether it's a boundary script, a reflection tool, or simply the courage to say what you really mean. So if you're ready to lead from your truth, not from approval, this is your space. Your unapologetic voice starts here. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Her Unapologetic Voice podcast, the space where women reclaim their power, rediscover their worth, and rise into the life that they were always meant to live. And today's conversation is for the woman who is looking to rebuild her identity. And today, we are going to be talking about From Burnt Out to Balanced, Beautiful and Abundant, Rebecca's 7 Pillars of Abundance. Okay? The woman who has stayed too long in environments that have drained her. So the woman who wonders, is this all there is? So our guest today, Rebecca, knows that journey firsthand. She transforms burnt out women into balanced, beautiful, and abundant leaders through her powerful 7 pillars of abundance. She mentors women to leave toxic relationships, magnetize their soulmate at any stage of life, and build profitable, purpose-driven businesses through her 6-figure side hustle program. She's a best-selling author of 3 books on business mindset, the award-winning host of the Balanced, Beautiful, and Abundant podcast, and was rated #1 life coach and empowered Woman of the Year by the International Association of Top Professionals. And on top of that, she manifested her soulmate and is now newly married, living her happily ever after life in Venice, California. And I love Venice because I've been to Venice. So Rebecca, welcome to Her Unapologetic Voice podcast.
Thank you for the kind intro. The check is in the mail. I wrote that bio. I've actually moved home from Venice, California, where I was living for 24 years, to Cincinnati, Ohio.
Well, that's great. And yes, and you used to live in Jupiter, Florida.
I did. I loved Jupiter, Florida. I can't wait to go back there one day.
Yeah, and I live about 15 minutes north of Jupiter in Stuart, Florida. A lot of people down here, but I'm excited to have you here today on our show. And please share your story.
Well, I was not always rated top 5 entrepreneurs to watch by USA Today or Mindset Coach of the Decade. A few short years ago, I was in a really toxic marriage. And I remember sitting in the therapist's office, and it was in West LA, and there was a Feng Shui Buddha fountain and bone broth in the kitchen and incense burning, and the setting was very peaceful, but my husband and I were screaming at each other, and the therapist yelled at me, and she looked me in the eye and she said, "Rebecca, what do you want?" And a voice that was not my own said, "I want a life of ease, grace, and spiritual dignity." And when that voice came through, I knew I had to leave that marriage. As the marriage started to unravel, my dad started to slowly die back in Cincinnati. And in one of our last conversations, he said, "I really think that you should write a book." And my dad was buried on a Wednesday. My divorce was finalized on a Friday of the same week. And a few months later, I found myself sitting across the desk from my financial planner. And he said, "Rebecca, even though you lost your dad in your marriage this year, you're having your best financial year ever. And I think you should teach women how you did it." So I thought about it, and I looked at my life, and I decided there are 7 key areas. And when you have all 7 areas of your life in alignment, you can be, do, or have anything you want. So now I teach women to achieve success and overcome burnout through aligning their life in the 7 pillars of abundance rather the hustle and grind.
I agree with you, especially like in the US here. Hustle and grind is talked about a lot. How can women move from there to working like in a place of rest, if that makes sense?
Well, you still have to work hard, to turn
Okay.
back. I mean, it is capitalism, but it's about doing it intentionally and not being just so focused on the money that you let other areas of your life go. The
There
seven
you go.
of abundance are spirituality. I believe in having a morning practice and connecting with the divine, whatever that is for you. And my number one practice for doing that kind of morning ritual is a journal, which we're going to talk about later. I'm going to make sure you guys stay on to the end because you're going to get a special surprise. The second pillar is fitness, body before business, and planning your day around your exercise. The third pillar is emotions. You can either be scarcity, coming from lack, I don't have enough, complaining, comparing, criticizing, or you can come from abundance, appreciation, gratitude, loving everything that you have, because just being on the planet an extra day is a gift that many people did not get today. After emotions is romance, having a relationship that feeds your soul and lifts you up, or if you're single, learning how to feed your own soul. After romance is mental, working on your mindset, like listening to this awesome podcast, Her Unapologetic Voice, and doing the mindset work. You could do YouTube, you could do a seminar, you could take any kind of a class, anything to grow your mind. After mindset is social, having a community of like-minded people that have similar goals and that believe in you and lift you up. It could be a yoga class, a temple, a church, it could be anything. And finally, financial. And most people think, I'm going to make money first, then I'll hire a trainer, I'll look really hot, I'll attract my soulmate, we'll go on spiritual retreats, and we'll socialize with other couples. But I feel like when you have all the other pillars of abundance in alignment, the money will come. For example, how you found me. I didn't go looking for you, Angeline. Your team found me because I am magnetic. Right. And that's why I call myself, my nickname is the Magnetic Abundance Mentor. I teach women to be magnetic rather than going out and chasing and exhausting themselves.
Right. And I agree. And I'm so glad that you brought out those 7 pillars, because for me, spirituality, morning ritual, that's non-negotiable.
Yes.
Fitness is non-negotiable. And it could be just going for a walk. I do fitness every day, keeping your emotions in check. And then you talked about the romance and the mental, social, and financial. Which pillar do women struggle with the most?
I think they all have struggles in these top 3, either their health, their love life, or their finances. Usually if the woman is crushing it in her finances and she doesn't have time to work out or date, or her relationship with her spouse has gone a little stale, or if she is like having the romance of her life, she's not making time for her girlfriends and the social life is suffering, or if she's struggling with her health, which to me is so important, because you can have all the money and all the romance in the world, but if you're depressed and lethargic, and then what's the point? So health is wealth. And if you have your health, you can reinvent yourself. I know a lot of the podcast that we're talking about today was about reinvention. So you can reinvent yourself every day as a new beginning. But if you don't have your health, then your number one priority is just to get to baseline and get to health. A lot of women prioritize their work and they don't make time to work out, or they prioritize being codependent and serving everybody else's needs, their spouse, their kids, their elderly parents, and they don't make time for their own health and wellness.
Yeah, and that's a shame. Actually, when I worked in corporate America, I made money. I did 6-figure income. But it was like I had a routine, like before working, like I would go to the gym. So I started to make time even to go to the gym while I was traveling at 5:30 in the morning. At 30 minutes in, because that just set myself up for the entire day. And there were times where I would get up at 4:30. And I know it's hard, like for women, they say, oh, this is so hard because I have children and feed them. But if you're not loving on yourself, how do you expect to take care of your children and your spouse?
Yeah, I mean, your energy is like a teacup. And if you're always pouring out into other people and you're never pouring into yourself, eventually you're going to get depleted and burned out, exhausted, resentful, even sick. But it's so important to fill your cup up first with the 7 pillars. I don't do every pillar every day, but once a week, I try to do a social visit with a friend. Once a week, I have a date night. Some things are like the spiritual practice, and I try to exercise or walk or move my body every day. Once you understand this framework, you just want to touch all 7 areas at least once a week. It's not overwhelming. It's just an awareness that you want to have your life be full and holistic and not just single focused on one thing.
There you go. I love that. And how does self-worth influence relationships and business?
Self-worth is everything, especially in relationships and business, because let's talk about business first. If you don't have self-worth, you are going to undercharge for your services. You're going to give your services away for free. You're going to tell people, oh, don't worry, just pay me when you have the money, and people will take advantage of you. Or in a relationship, if you don't have self-worth, you're going to accept unacceptable behavior. I had a client who had a wonderful career. She was making high 6 figures as a financial advisor. She was going to all the hot spots and was, out on the town going to galas and charity events. But in her personal life, she had a relationship where the guy was still enmeshed with his ex-wife. And even though they were divorced, they were co-parenting. And he treated her like a mistress. He would not be seen with her in public. He would not tell his ex-wife about her. She had to be in and out of his house, so none of the neighbors would see, because God forbid, they would tell his ex-wife. Once we worked on her self-worth, she realized, I deserve to be in public. I deserve to be celebrated and claimed, and someone to love being out on the town and going to all my fun galas and events with me and to be on my arm. And as soon as we shifted that, she met a guy who was so excited to be out on the town with her, and they have a great relationship. But it was a self-worth issue.
And there are so many women out there who do accept the crumbs. Well, they're attracting that in their lives.
Yeah.
How can a woman begin to start strengthening herself and strengthening all these pillars that you talk about?
I like to look at an area where she's crushing it and asking her, like, for example, the financial planner. I was like, what are you doing in your financial life where you're crushing it with all these high net worth clients? And she's like, well, I'm like offering to help and having breakfast and lunch and coffee. And I know that I can help them with their finances. And she was just very confident, and she wouldn't accept a client who didn't pay her, because she's like, I'm going to make you like so much money. I definitely deserve to be paid in the process. So why can't you apply that to your love life? Like, you know what you're bringing to the table as a romantic partner. You're pretty and sexy and have a great personality. Why would you accept someone who only wanted to sneak around with you versus having you be seen in public? So it's like, look what area you're doing well in and apply that principle to an area where you are challenged.
Right. There you go. I like that. I love that. And what does magnetizing actually mean?
Well, it means that you have a high vibration.
Right.
It's actually science-backed. Your thoughts have a vibration that goes out into the universe, and then they either lower your energy and the people around you if they're negative, they're critical, if they're fear-based, or they heighten the energy and lift the people up that are around you. It's funny because I used to live in LA, and people are like, oh, I'm gluten-free. I only eat certain kinds of foods. I'm a carnivore or keto or whatever. They're so careful with what they put in their mouth, but they'll say things that are hurting their vibration. So I encourage my clients to be just as precise with what they're saying as what they're eating and drinking, because your words carry a vibration that's either going to make you magnetic and pull in what you want, the love, the money, the health, the happiness, or repel what you want, because whatever you say is going to come back tenfold. That's actually in the Bible. So it is
right,
spiritual and scientific. And if you cannot be high vibe about something, maybe there's an area of your life that's really causing you pain. I'm not saying to be toxically positive and slap a smiley face on things that are hurting you, but just talk about it in a general way, or just say, I'd rather not talk about that right now. I'm still processing that. Talk about the things that are going well and celebrate those. And that's going to raise your vibration and make you magnetic. And don't always say, people are so used to sharing their pain and their pity. And it's like, you think that's happened to you. Wait till you hear what's happened to me. And it just takes your vibration.
It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious spiral downward.
Yeah. It's like misery loves company. And people are not used to hearing women celebrate their wins. They think it's like too arrogant, but I'm encouraging the women. If your friends don't like to hear you celebrate your wins, get new friends.
Absolutely. In fact, I was a Beachbody coach back
neat.
16 years ago in the Chalene Johnson era. Chalene would always say, because I loved her workouts, and she changed my life. And it's like, if you don't have the friends to exercise with you, get new friends. So just go out and get new friends who are going to support you in your journey. And it doesn't necessarily have to be weight loss. It could just be just feeling good about yourself. And that's where I got a lot of self-love from, because I still take care of my body. I've added on a few curves, but that's okay. I still go out and walk, and that's it. I make the time. Like after this episode, I will go out for a walk.
I love it. And I love that we both come from the network marketing space. I have learned so many of my principles of sales and leadership, personal growth from the network marketing space. And a lot of people are judgmental about it or whatever. But the truth is 1 out of 4 self-made millionaires in this country come from network marketing. And I haven't made $1 million in it, but I have made money in it. So much just about health and wellness and people and community. And I think it's a great space, the network marketing space.
Absolutely. It is a great space. You meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like-minded people. And that's how I got outside of myself. After divorce, I flew to California 1 month later. Speaking of California, I've been to Venice.
Nice.
But we visited the studio and I met so many people, women and men. It was just like an unforgettable experience. The network marketing space is a great space, despite what people say about it. That's it. Okay.
I agree.
It's about creating those relationships and creating those friendships. It's great. Why is financial empowerment critical for women leaving toxic environments, a toxic work environment?
Well, in the 1950s, women had to stay married for food and shelter. In the 60s, the pill was invented. That changed feminism for women, because women could be intimate and not worry about pregnancy, and they could actually have choices. And women started going to the workforce because they weren't all having to stay home with the kids while the men worked. And women have just gotten more empowered. And now we're in the golden age of women empowerment. And the reason why is because women are making money. More women are doctors now than men. I never thought I'd see that day. More women are becoming entrepreneurs between age 34 and 54, another group in the world. When women have money, they have choice. They don't have to stay in an abusive relationship. They don't have to live in a house that is toxic and breaking their spirit. They can leave. They can get their own apartment. They can vacation. Like, they have choices. I encourage anyone who's listening, if you don't feel financially empowered, find a way to do that. Talk to me or Angeline. Like, let's get you financially empowered so you have choices in life.
Exactly. Financial empowerment is so important. And I have a financial planner who's a woman. She's great. So yes. And that's so important. What holds women back from monetizing their gifts? Because I see a lot of that out there.
I think women have a fear of failure. I'm going to tell you, because they are people pleasers and validation addicts, and they want everybody to like them. I want to tell you what one of my mentors said in network marketing that changed my life. She said, I eat rejection for breakfast. And she's 7-figure money earner. You have got to get over your fear of rejection. If you want to make it in business, you've got, even in any of the 7 pillars, socially, you've got to get over your fear of rejection and ask people to coffee in any way. Because if somebody rejects you, it's not personal. I believe in the law of averages. Life is a numbers game. If you ask enough people, if they're open-minded to whatever it is you're selling or offering, eventually somebody's going to say yes. And take failure out of your equation, because there is no failure. You either win or you learn. Sometimes you have to fail forward and embrace the suck and learn something on a learning curve before you can get good at it. In fact, almost anything, if you look at a baby, how a baby walks, they have to fall and fall and fall and fall. And
That's
nobody
right.
says to the baby, why are you trying to walk? You're just going to crawl your whole life. Like, you keep falling. Like, why do you keep trying? They're like, no, go, go. You can walk. You took 3 steps. You took 5 steps. Now you're running. We cheer baby on. I'm the same way with my clients. Whenever they have the smallest win as an entrepreneur, that's amazing. And
Sure.
just keep going, because you are learning. You are not failing.
Exactly. Absolutely. We're learning, growing, and evolving. I've had failures too, and I've talked about it. They're stepping stones.
Yes.
Right. And it wasn't meant to be. So if that project didn't work out, it just was not meant to be. That door was closed. But that means that something else opened up for you. What are the first 3 steps to building a profitable side hustle?
The first 3 steps is to know what your superpower is. What some questions to ask yourself. What could you talk about for 30 minutes without any notes? What are people constantly asking for your advice about? Is it about love life, cooking, traveling, gardening, dogs? Like, I don't know, something. The third thing is, what have you been naturally good at since you were a little kid? Have you always been a talker? Have you always been giving people advice? Have you always been, great at cooking? Whatever it is, those are great clues about your side hustle. So the first step is to know what your superpower is. The second step is to carve out some power hours. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 hours a week, but just put them in your schedule and set boundaries around them as if you would a workout or a hair appointment or a doctor's appointment. So carve out some power hours. I don't care if you can only do 20 minutes a day. You can still build a business in the nooks and crannies of your day, and everybody can carve out 20 minutes a day. And the third step is to seek mentorship, to find somebody who has what you want. And if you do what they did, you can get what they got. You don't have to reinvent the wheel and figure out everything all by yourself. You can hire a coach. You can watch a YouTube video. You can listen to a podcast. You can go to a conference. Like, you can get support in doing what it is you want to do.
Well, I agree. And I'm glad you touched on all those points. That is so, so important. How does purpose reduce burnout? In other words, living in purpose. Like, now I don't feel burnt out, but like, I know when I'm starting to feel like I'm overwhelmed, and I take a step back. Yeah. What advice would you give to the woman who is out there in the workforce? Like, she's playing 3 roles. She's a mom, soccer mom, plus she works full time.
I would say to know your why. Why are you wanting to do what you're doing? And get really clear about that. Is it because you want to provide a life for your kids? Is it because you want to have a dream vacation in a couple years with your spouse and reignite your marriage? Have a why that gets you out of bed, that really excites you, because a lot of business is mundane. It's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of saying the same things over and over again to different people. And it can burn you out. Not every moment is supposed to be like unicorns and rainbows. But if you know your why, then your why is igniting your passion, and it gets you out of bed, and it keeps you going through the ups and downs of being in business.
That's right. And your why should make you cry.
Yes. Have a why that makes you cry.
Why that right.
7 levels deep. Like, I want to help my kids. Why do I want to help your kids? Because I love them. Why do you love them? Whatever it is, do in vitro. And I've always wanted kids. Just keep digging until you get really emotional and passionate. And that's your true why. That's your purpose. And if you live your life on purpose, with a purpose, you're never going to burn out.
There you go. It won't feel like work anymore. Like, going to a 9 to 5 is work, but working your passion, that doesn't feel like work to me.
If you have a side hustle, if you have a 9 to 5, and I'm a believer in side hustles, it will be ignited by your side hustle so that you can get through your 9 to 5. Because like, oh, on my lunch break, I'm going to work on my business. And right after work, I'm meeting someone to discuss if they're a good fit for my business. And the 9 to 5 can help pay the bills that you need. Or you need certain kinds of software. You need some tech support. You might need an assistant. You might need to invest in coaching or a seminar. So don't quit your job, keep your job, get your health benefits, and have that security. So a lot of male business coaches say, quit your job, max out your credit cards, do this high ticket coaching program, and then you're going to put yourself in a do or die situation. And men can function like that. They love cortisol and stress, but women, when we work out of fear and we get into high stress, high cortisol, we don't function as well. We want to be calm and we want our nervous system to be regulated so that when we talk to clients, we're coming from contribution, not desperation. That is why I say to keep your job. And when your side hustle, if your side hustle is making as much money as your job, then you can quit your job. But I don't encourage women to quit their job right away.
I'm so glad you said that and broke the silence, because I worked in corporate America, but I had my side hustle, working my podcasts at night, doing an interview at 7 p.m. I worked for the largest online business directory in the country. I would work from 8:30 until about 5. And during my lunch, I would reach out to some people. Then, but I had that income coming in plus the health insurance, and it funded, I call it my part-time dream.
Yeah, I like that.
I funded my business. In fact, my bonus check went to mentorship. I created my podcasts, I created my coaching programs and everything. That came from my full-time job.
All the extra income and the security, you had the security and confidence knowing that you had your health benefits, that you were going to have your bills paid. So you had the energy to do your podcast interviews, to do your follow-ups. The two really work together. And I believe everyone should have 3 to 5 income streams.
I agree with you. And that part I do have. So anyways, I have 4, I think, but from investments and everything, but like, that's so important. Like, I don't like when men say, quit your job. And I've heard it. Oh yeah, quit your job and go full throttle. That leads to burnout. And men and women are wired differently.
Yes.
This afternoon, I'm doing light therapy work. I'm going to have my nervous system regulated because I'm going on a trip on Friday. There's going to be some men there. And I know for me, I have to keep myself in check. So, yes. And they're great people and everything, but they're just wired differently. They're like, go, 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 up at 3:30 in the morning. And that's not me. I don't do that. I'm glad that you brought this out in the open. I'm so glad that you brought this out because we are wired differently. Women are wired differently, and that's it.
We want to protect our peace because when we're in like that, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed. I got to do all this stuff. I got to run. And then we're not as effective as leaders when we're in like panic and overwhelm. We've got to stay calm and keep our nervous system regulated.
Exactly. And I'm so glad that you shared that. So we're coming up, because I know we all have busy schedules today, but we're coming up to the top of the hour. Rebecca, thank you for sharing your wisdom and your story so generously today with our audience. If you are listening and you feel burnt out, stuck, or even questioning your worth, let this be your reminder that your burnout is not your identity and toxic love is not your destiny. Exhaustion is not your inheritance. You are allowed to be balanced. And we talked about nervous system regulations. You are allowed to be beautiful in your becoming.
You're becoming. You don't have to be there. There is no over there.
Right, exactly.
Your happiness on your goals. Enjoy the beautiful becoming that you're in because you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. That's right. That's right. And you are allowed to live abundantly. Rebecca, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your work and your book and everything?
Sure. Well, I have a website, RebeccaWhitman.com. I have an Instagram at Rebecca E. Whitman. And I have a very special gift for Angeline's listeners. You guys are going to get the Balance Beautiful bundle. You are going to get a copy of my best-selling book, How to Make a Six-Figure Income Working Part-Time, where you'll get all 7 pillars of abundance and 21 affirmations to make them all a level 10. You will get my abundance journal prompts that have taken my thinking from scarcity to abundance. And I promise you, if you write in the abundance journal every day for 10 days in a row, you will have a miracle. It's happened to hundreds of people. The third thing is you're going to get my ageless beauty tips. And the fourth thing is you're going to get a beautiful poem I wrote called Elegant Warrior Manifesto that encompasses everything we've talked about on this show. all of that is in the Balance Beautiful bundle, which is my free gift to all of you just for being a part of this wonderful community.
That's great. That's awesome. Is that on your website?
It should be, yeah. It should be on RebeccaWhitman.com, but I'll also give you the link for that directly.
Okay, great. And all the links will be in the show notes, everyone. When this episode is released, we will have all the links. I'm going to download it.
Hey,
I love it.
I'm
going to download it.
I love it. I can't wait to hear about your miracle.
Well, thank you so much. I am very happy. I just feel so happy and blessed that you were here today. And if this conversation resonated, please share this episode with another woman who needs to hear this powerful message and conversation. And this is Her Unapologetic Voice, and I will see you in the next episode. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Thank you for listening to Her Unapologetic Voice. Every conversation here is meant to help you build confidence from the inside out and find strength in your own words. If today's message resonated, follow the show and share it with a friend who's ready to lead from who she truly is. You can also connect with me on social media at Her Unapologetic Voice podcast for updates and behind the scenes insights. Remember, confidence begins when you stop apologizing for your truth and start speaking from it. I'm Angeline Constantinou, and I will see you in the next episode.